Italian is so bad.
Thank you, Johann, for accepting my invitation. Italy and Germany are founding members of the European Union. Our governments share the same values and the same views. We share the vision of a strong Europe, able to be an engine of growth and competitiveness. Building on that, we have the responsibility of preparing the Union for the challenges of the present and those of the future. I am sure the reflection you will share with us today will be very important for our work together. The dialogue between Italy and Germany in this moment is very, very positive. The link is a strong link. We are working very well in every sector. We are working well at European level. We are working well in defense sector, European defense sector. We are working very well against illegal immigration. We have the same position in favor of legal immigration, but for fighting against illegal immigration and human traffickers. The human traffickers are also drug traffickers and weapon traffickers, and we are united on this. We are ready for working together in Africa. We are both strong supporters of the reunification of the Western Balkans. We are working well also on this. We have the same position on Middle East. We don't recognize Palestine today, but we believe for the future in Palestinian state, in Israel state, and Palestinian state living in peace. On Ukraine also, we have the same position. This is both strong supporters of the freedom of Ukraine, and we want to work for just a lasting peace. For this reason, it's important to continue working together, also in the E4 coordination format. Also in the Middle East, we approved the document 5 minutes ago for the strongest cooperation in Palestine, for paving the way for the reconstruction and for paving the way for the stability of this region. Also, at industrial level, there is a super positive cooperation, both industrial countries. We have a problem with raw materials. Rare earths are crucial for our technologies. Both the two most important manufacturing countries. But this is crucial to move on in the same direction, Italy and Germany. On January the 23, we will have an important intergovernmental meeting in Rome, Germany and Italy, for working together for strengthening our cooperation. In this moment, the German Chancellor and our Prime Minister are working in Berlin for achieving good results in favor of peace and for pushing hard Russia for finally signing a ceasefire with Ukraine. We want to be part, as Europeans, the last agreement between Ukraine, Russia, and the United States. We are pro-Europeans. We want to strengthen our NATO pillar, the European NATO pillar. We are friends of the USA, but we need to balance the situation, because for 8 years, America has been the boss also in Europe. We have the protection of our freedom has been made in America. Now we need to strengthen the second pillar to be altogether protagonists. We need to spend more in security. Not easy, but we need to do it. And we will work together for achieving the same goal as the freedom of Europe, for strengthening our presence, more politics. Also, we need to work hard for changing our Europe. I remember before the German election, a meeting with Chancellor Merz before his election. The common proposal was for every new rule, less rules. For this, we need to reduce the bureaucracy. We need to change our Europe. For this, it's possible to work very well together with Germany. Our common heritage made in the Gasperi and Adenauer, the founders of the European Union. This is to have an important heritage behind us is a guarantee also for our future. Johann, you have the floor.
Dear colleagues, it's a privilege to be here once again in Rome. Normally I'm spending my time in Rome together with my wife, who's an art historian. This takes me always about at least 2 hours in one church. And after 1.5 hours, I try to escape and to look after the next cappuccino or so, and sometimes she releases me, but it's great to be here. So dear Antonio, Excellencies, esteemed colleagues, dear friends, next year we celebrate the 75th anniversary of diplomatic relations between the Federal Republic of Germany and the Italian Republic, and thus the beginning of our close and trustful cooperation in shaping the shared project that is European integration. I very much look forward to celebrating this landmark. But this year also marks an important anniversary for German-Italian relations that cannot be unmentioned. One of the great ambassadors of mutual understanding celebrated his 65th birthday, a true legend on both sides of the Alps. His name is Rudi Völler, il tedesco volante. Wearing the giallorossi jersey, he won the Coppa Italia with AS Roma in 1991. We have fond memories, as I feel, of his 5 footballing years in Rome. 68 goals in 198 matches. What a star. Right now, he's once again busy in rescuing the German national team, this time not as a player or as a coach. He has done this already, but as a sporting director. But with his career, he shows German and Italian recipes for success are often the same. And the exchange of skilled workers ultimately contributes to the success of both countries. That is true for football, but also for much more. After all, our nations share far more than footballing history. Germany and Italy have the same DNA when it comes to the European project. As founding members of what would later become the European Union, our 2 nations understood early that reconciliation, cooperation, and shared prosperity were the only sustainable path forward for our continent. Together, we laid the groundwork for an unprecedented union of peace and democracy. And even if people seem to enjoy downplaying the achievements of the EU and focusing on its assumed shortcomings, the truth is, in fact, we are a historically successful union. We are stronger together, and we are strong. Excellencies, when I outlined my foreign policy agenda also in Germany, I do so based on 3 core interests: security, freedom, and prosperity. And this interest-driven foreign policy is what I would like to talk to you about today. I am convinced that in today's world, for Italy and for Germany alike, we need to focus more strongly on our interests. And I believe that as core partners, Germany and Italy share many of them. Germany is Italy's most important trading partner, while Italy also plays a leading role in Germany's foreign trade. in their industrial foundations. We spoke about that, Antonio, before this meeting here. Our countries are very similar. Our economic structure is very much alike. This is the bedrock of successful cooperation, and this is what we want to continue strengthening. For example, the steel industry, but also the chemical and automotive industry. Italy faces major challenges similar to those in Germany, particularly due to pressure from Chinese competitors, often stemming from unfair and distorting subsidies. Our recent Italian-German dialogue on steel highlighted opportunities for cooperation on key challenges. Germany and Italy are both convinced free trade and an open Europe is a driver of growth and prosperity, especially at a time when protectionist tendencies and economic coercion is increasing. We must jointly advocate open markets and fair competitive conditions. At the same time, we need to cut red tape in Europe to relieve companies and promote innovation. Less bureaucracy, faster approval processes, access to finance for innovative companies, and a simplified legal system are crucial to strengthening our economy. The same goes for space. We stand at a turning point for European space policy. Italy and Germany, unsurprisingly, given their dynamic industries, are playing a leading role. Italy knows how to set the course for the new space economy and is investing strategically in the future. It is therefore of crucial importance that we actively support this development and deepen our cooperation with Italy. Colleagues, just the other week, the United States published its national security strategy. For all of us, the US remains our most important ally. Europe and the US are historically, economically, and culturally interconnected. However, we do not agree with the way Europe is addressed, which attacks that binds our societies together. The European Union is a success story. If the EU did not exist, we would have to invent it. We have weathered many storms together. There can be no doubt that, once again, we Europeans will make the necessary adjustments to master the new challenges. Thus, we must ask ourselves today, what can we do in Europe to strengthen our resilience? What can we do in Europe in particular to strengthen our competitiveness and to make our economies more robust? For Germany and Italy, the answer can only be found in deeper cooperation. Cooperation within the EU, for instance, to diversify trade relations and sources of critical minerals. That is why we, the EU, need to take a positive decision this week to finalize the EU-Mercosur agreement. We are counting on Italy's support for this strategic endeavor in this challenging geo-economic world. Our two countries have long understood that stability is not guaranteed. It must be built. That is why we are such close partners in the European Union, in the G7, and in NATO. And that is why our defense partnerships matter so profoundly. With a joint venture between Rheinmetall and Leonardo, we strengthen our joint defense capabilities. Our industries cooperate successfully on submarines, the Eurodrone, and the Eurofighter. The first defense roundtable in Berlin showed how we intensify the exchange of expertise and technology and also contribute to European sovereignty. Take Ukraine, for example. We welcome the efforts of the US administration to end Russia's brutal and illegal war of aggression and to work toward a just and lasting peace for Ukraine. Ukraine can count on our support. The latest Ukraine recovery conference here in Rome made that clear. And as negotiations are ongoing in Berlin this evening, we Italians and Germans agree that there can be no decision about Ukraine without Ukraine. No decision about European security without the involvement of us Europeans. Borders must not be changed by force. No matter how the talks now underway end, one thing must be clear to all of us. Russia remains an aggressive and imperialist country. Putin is at the very least creating the option for a war against NATO because he is rearming on an unprecedented scale far beyond the needs of his senseless war in Ukraine. We must prepare for that. And at the same time, as both of our countries are doing, we need to continue to strengthen Ukraine militarily. Another dimension of Russian aggression is visible in the Western Balkans, a region where political interference has become a tool of power. This influence is not abstract. It directly targets democratic institutions and seeks to undermine the European trajectory of our partners. It targets the core objective of our EU accession policy, a stable, democratic framework which strengthens the security of the entire Balkans and protects our economic links and prevents external actors from exploiting vulnerabilities in our immediate neighborhood. That's the very reason that our two countries work toward accession of the frontrunners amongst the candidates. But Russia's aggression is not the only challenge we face. Across the world, we are witnessing humanitarian crises of unimaginable scale. For example, in Sudan, where there are apocalyptic levels of hunger, flight, and displacement. Generally, the Europeans will have to foster the partnership with African countries. Again, a promising field of cooperation between Italy and Germany, in particular in the light of the geopolitical competition. Italy brings in unique expertise. In Israel, and I'm very glad about that, all the surviving hostages were able to return. And even though there is now, unfortunately, a fragile ceasefire in the Gaza Strip, the people there continue to need urgent help, our help. I am glad that we issued today a joint statement regarding an improvement of the humanitarian situation in Gaza. If we talk about European stability, we also have to talk about European migration policy. Germany, together with like-minded countries, continues to actively advocate for the EU Commission to work on innovative solutions in migration policies. Excellencies, in Berlin as in Rome, we have asked ourselves, how should foreign policy be structured in these times? One thing became very clear: we need to adapt the new priorities imposed on us by the global situation. Changes on our continent and in the world are affecting us rapidly. I know that this is an issue for you as well. In Germany, we also have to adapt to budgetary realities. This means reducing our staff by 8% over the next 4 years. To do that, we need to change to how we work. We therefore will fundamentally restructure Germany's Foreign Office. We will strengthen regional portfolios, and in parallel enhance our effectiveness in the areas of security policy, the international order, and geoeconomics, and of course, Europe. Excellencies, let me end on a broader truth. In the last 75 years, whenever Germany and Italy faced great challenges, we have ultimately found the same answer. An answer that is larger than either of us alone. An answer that has delivered peace and stability for generations. The solution to our problems is Europe. That is not an abstract idea. It is the very reason of our industries can grow, why our democracies are protected, why our voice carries weight in the world. Today, it's upon us to make this idea work in our changing and challenging times. And that is why we are working on enlarging the European Union. That is a geopolitical necessity. Enlargement will only make the EU stronger, but only if the EU in parallel reforms itself. In order to become more competitive again, and in order to play its role in the field in security and defense. As Antonio said a few days ago, Europe needs courage, and Italy has to play a major role. With the government consultations next January, we want to take our relations to a new level. In that regard, let me highlight and thank you for the excellent working relationship between our two foreign ministries, ranging from informal calls at working level to state secretary consultations. 2026 is a year of opportunity for Italy and Germany. Let us make use of its potential in the interest of both our countries and of Europe. I thank you.